I'm Richard Pyatt. Welcome back to Creating Dementia Solutions, a Miles for Memories program. Make sure you check us out, milesformemories.org, and on Facebook. Search Miles for Memories. Follow us there so you know when these episodes come available. Also might find us on YouTube. Maybe that's where you're watching. Thanks for that. Check out milesformemories.org. Take a look at the resources available and information available that can be useful for folks who might be living with dementia and those who are caring for them. Speaking of that, we're spending 2026 talking with many of the Miles for Memories volunteers about their personal stories of dementia. Elizabeth Rowley's back with us now, the director. I have to read this because this is a very impressive title. Director of Resident Arts and Technology at the Calhoun County Medical Care Facility. Hello, thank you for coming back. So let's just talk for a second about what Director of Resident Arts and Technology means.
Well, technology is more accessible than ever for everyone, and it's a big part of our lives, and our residents engage in technology daily just as we do, and that's an important thing to provide meaning to people's lives.
How does it provide meaning at the Calhoun County Medical Care Facility?
Well, you're able to play your favorite games just like you would at home. You know, I like a good game of Black Blast myself. You're able to find your favorite songs online, listen to those, read your books, connect with the library, all those things that provide meaning in a home setting. People in nursing homes still do those same things.
Yeah, and you're there to help them make that connection.
Yes.
So it stands to reason that Elizabeth is sitting here with an iPad or a tablet in front of her, and I have my piece of paper and my pen. I think the assigned title is correct. You're better in charge of technology than I, perhaps. You know, so when we talk about the idea of the personal stories of dementia, what does that stir up for you?
Well, I grew up learning about dementia through my family, and back then my dad would say some members of the family had hardening of the arteries. That's what they called it. And his grandparents lived with him because they had dementia. I never met them. That was years and years ago. But his grandpa would walk down the block in the small town because he needed to water the horses.
Oh my!
At that time,
yeah,
he believed he still had horses in the town, and there were no horses, but everyone in the town knew what he was going to do and supported him in his dementia.
That's an incredible story. Folks understood, and they understood the idea of supporting him and encouraging him. So your dad told you these stories?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did that stir up for you as a young person, trying to wrap your head around that?
Well, it wasn't too unfamiliar for me because I spent a lot of time visiting with older people as a child. My grandparents were born in the early 1900s, so we spent a lot of time visiting grandparents and a lot of great aunts and uncles.
Same here. Yeah.
And our family lived out of town, so when you went to visit, you would go from one house to the next, hearing everyone's stories and how they were doing. And you know, we didn't have any distractions like the internet or tablets or any other things to do.
And you would know better than us about that.
So as a child, I had to sit still and be part of the conversation. So I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about how our lives change as we age. But to me, as a child, that was a natural part of living.
But this, you absorbed all of this, which is interesting because, some of us as kids might not sit still and listen. We might end up distracted or not absorbing what we're hearing, but you did. And this made an impression on you that ended up in a career. True?
True. My mother used to go and visit a lot of older people, and at that time, we referred to those people as shut-ins or invalids back then. And she would go and check on them and bring them like homemade bread, things like that, and I would go with her. And it helped me realize, people live in all different types of situations, and everyone has a different story.
I would suggest to you that even though you were there with your mother and your mother had the lead, you were participating in a caregiving activity, weren't you?
Well, a lot of times myself and my siblings played music, and so often when we went to visit people, we were asked to play the songs that we were learning for the people we were visiting.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a subject we've talked about before on this program, your connection to music therapy and so on. We're going to get to that. But you were caregiving. Did it seem like that's what you were doing? I mean, we have a perception, don't we, of what caregiving means. And maybe that means helping someone to sit down, or it means helping them get to an appointment or something. But playing music for them was caregiving as well. Did you think it was at the time?
At the time, I didn't think so, but now seeing children visit at the facility, I see that they play such an important role in our community.
Yeah. Right. Folks light up around that opportunity, those visitors, right? So talk about what this music connection that was a caregiving thing for you as a child, but you parlayed that into a career, didn't you?
Well, it kind of happened by accident. I was looking at majors related to music. I thought about becoming a librarian or social worker or music teacher, and I couldn't make a decision. And then I saw in the university catalog that there was a major for music therapy. And so I went and visited a university to check it out, and that's when I made the decision.
You were sold. Why? What was it about that?
Music really connects us.
Even as you were undoubtedly bound to learn, even in situations of dementia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you've seen that now in your career. Just give us a little idea of what that means. As you embarked on this educational path, it became something that was meaningful to folks with dementia, for example. You've seen that firsthand. Pretty impressive, no?
It's very impressive. I've seen people who have difficulty holding conversations or even speaking a few words be able to sing along to songs from the past. And I've also seen people respond to music when they've not been responsive to other things. I've seen them be able to connect with their loved ones through a song and share those emotions without speaking.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm reminded, and I brought it up before, and if you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's out there someplace, the 60 Minutes with Tony Bennett, who, of course, was in the throes of dementia, but he did a concert, and it just happened.
Yes.
And I think it was Anderson Cooper who interviewed him the following day and said, Tony, you were incredible. at the concert last night, and he had no recollection of the event. But that music comes back. That must just amaze you. It certainly amazes us, but maybe you see it as a verifier of your path.
I continue to learn something new every day, and music continues to amaze me, how people are able to connect with music, and music stays in your motor memory. So someone who is a performer or who plays the piano or an instrument, they're often able to do that for many years later because it stays in your motor memory.
Well, that certainly was evidenced by the Tony Bennett example. Man. So in this path, you became connected somehow with Miles for Memories. Talk about what that was about and what kind of meaning that had.
Miles for Memories has been a great experience. We have stakeholders from all across the county coming together for the goal of supporting people with dementia and their caregivers. And everyone in our community needs support. People with dementia often become isolated and disconnected from the community because many people are uncomfortable talking about dementia. Or they haven't learned much about dementia, and so it can be a little bit scary when I find out someone in their family has dementia or they receive a diagnosis. And we want to provide as much information as possible to people with dementia and their caregivers.
Yeah. So how did you become connected with Miles for Memories? It sounds like, and it has sounded this way with many of the folks with whom we've spoken, it almost is inevitable, right? If you're working in this area, these connections are going to get made. How did it happen for you?
It happened through working at Calhoun County Medical Care Facility. We made the connection. And then I started helping with some of our events. We used to have a Rockathon event, and we had some other fundraising and community events, and I participated in those.
I would imagine, too, that as a result of that, in your profession every day at the facility, you end up recommending folks who may be lacking resources about dementia. Here it is. That probably happens.
And it's a great place where people come together who are devoted to working with people with dementia.
Do you consider what you do now caregiving in your career?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's interesting how as a child it may not have been so obvious, but now it is. How much of your job would you say is caregiving?
I would say quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've worked at the facility for almost 27 years now, so I know a lot of the residents that live there, and so I look forward to working with them. And we're very focused on person-centered care, so we really focus on what's meaningful to the residents, and that just becomes a natural part of my work.
And recognizing what that is part of your job. So each individual has something that's meaningful to them, and you're looking for that connection.
Yes.
Yeah. I would also venture to say that just having had experience with you, some folks are just heartened to see you, someone they know is going to help them. And that's that caregiver piece. You've brought that comfort to them. Is that true? You think that's fair?
Well, I think people thrive in community, and I think we're really learning, especially since the COVID pandemic, that we need community to thrive.
Let that sink in for a second. Well, thank you for sharing your personal story of dementia and caregiving. It was more than just dementia, but the caregiving piece has clearly gone way back for you, which is heartening to hear. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Richard.
Elizabeth Raleigh with the Calhoun County Medical Care Facility, one of our latest discussions about the personal stories of dementia here on Creating Dementia Solutions. If you haven't heard these or seen them before, look back, because we've already had some really interesting and meaningful conversations around the idea of how dementia affects people personally, but as well the notion of caregiving and how that manifested for a lot of folks. Again, milesformemories.org. Check out the resources and technology. Speaking of technology, check that out there on the Miles for Memories website as well. I'm Richard Pyatt. We're back soon. Take care.